After one season at Miami, Florida in women's tennis, Mia Mack, with a UTR of 9.99, is transferring and has verbally committed to San Diego women's tennis for the fall of 2023. Following her official visit this week, she played at 5 singles and 3 doubles with records of 20 and 10 in singles and 15 and 10 doubles. She was a 4-time ACC Freshman of the Week. Obviously, first of all, Miami, Florida lost Maya Talhan recently, and they already lost Daviana Chung anyway because she was already out of eligibility, so that hurts. Now they lost 3 players. And I know they signed a player for the 2023-2024 season, Antonia Balsart, like a 4-year player at Colorado. So yeah, they already got 1 placement. So assuming nothing else changes on this, 1, 2, 6, 7 players right now. Yikes. I mean, that's not a lot of depth. And they might add some players. They're probably going to. And I know, that's still, and they don't have any high school players right now. As of right now, anyway. And Miami, Florida, by the way, was like number 14 in the country. And they hosted the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament. They lost to Auburn in a heartbreak 4-3 match. So, yet they beat teams. They beat Virginia, who was in the top 10, 6-1. Of course, in the ACC tournament, they lost to Virginia 4-3. I mean, they also lost ITA kickoff weekend to Iowa State, who turned out to be an Elite 8 team. So, yeah, and that's notable. I mean, Chong was a number 2 player, so that helps. Mia Mack was like 12-6 at 5 and 3-0 at 4 in the dual match season. So yeah, that hurts. You lose 2 starters now for sure. And Tahan, actually, that's 3 starters. Yeah, that's not ideal. That's really not ideal, and they definitely need to have to find a new number 1 doubles because Tahan was part of that in the number 1 doubles. But either way, they're going to have to they lose a Chong, so that hurts. So they have to replace the number 1 doubles. They also have to figure out their number 3 doubles as well. So you have to figure out 2 doubles teams. And at 1 and 3, as well as 3 stars in a singles lineup. And they were 16-8 last year, 9-4 in the ACC. Now San Diego, they actually made it to ITA kickoff weekend, and with this addition, and they definitely only lose 1 player for sure, because that's a redshirt senior, and that was your court 1. And San Diego this past year was a round of 32 team as well, with a 13-11 record, 6-1 in the West Coast Conference. In fact, they lost to Loyola Marymount in the semifinals, despite not having to play the previous day 4-3 to them, and that's why Pepperdine was not a top 8 seed, because if they would have played San Diego, a win over them would get them the boost to be number 8. So yeah, so that's just a interesting note right there. I just want to point that out. And the last time they played Loyola Marymount, they won 4-2. I mean 5-2. So, and they did make it to the national indoors, like I said, with the win over Cal 4-1, and then beat Georgia Tech 4-1 as well. And they went 0-3 in national indoors, by the way. So, and that's just saying that's a guaranteed one player is gone, because Victoria Kalasikis, this Kalaitizis, I apologize if I butchered that last name, comes back, because remember, there's still that 1 year eligibility due to COVID. And that's next year, and after that, no more COVID years. Unless you're an Ivy League player now as a freshman in 2020, like fall of 2020 or spring 2021, and you couldn't play, that's the only time you're going to get an extra year back. So, unless you redshirt, of course. But that's just saying that. And someone calling anyway was like sending 12 out of 1 singles. And that's the only really loss. And Victoria, the other senior, doesn't really matter, because in a lineup of things, because she's only played 1 dual match all year long in singles. So that would be like basically saying a nothing burger of a loss. And Elizabeth Goldsmith is a redshirt junior, so, but even then, now they could probably move up everybody. I would say San Diego could technically move up in the singles lineup, like they're 2 to 1 and they're 6 to 5, and you get a point. And with this addition, like I said, assuming the other senior comes back and the redshirt junior too, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players at most. But at least the minimum would be 7. So maybe a little more depth could be helped for both teams. And they were both around the 32 teams. San Diego was not even a host site, while Miami, Florida was. So we're going to have to wait and see how good these two teams are, and for next year, in terms of like conference race, NCAA tournament, what the schedules are. And remember too, in the West Coast Conference, there's no BYU anymore, so that kind of alters that a little bit, just a little bit. And there's nothing going on with the ACC with their scheduling, and we'll have to see what the non-cons are too. And this is a good addition for San Diego, to be honest. They needed this. If you like this content, hit like and subscribe. See you guys later. 5 subscribers. We're on the road to it. Let's go. And I think San Diego could very well be the number 2 team in the West Coast Conference. Maybe Pepperdine still finishes at 1, but I have a few questions about them. Just a few, but I think they could finish number 1 again. But now Miami, Florida, you had to deal with North Carolina, yikes, Virginia. I would also say maybe NC State. I know they lose their top 2, but you get the point. They're a good team. And Wake Forest is good. In the past, Duke, yeah, that's just tough. And Notre Dame and Georgia Tech. So we'll have to just wait and see, because it's a loaded ACC, as you could tell by listing all those teams. And I would favor North Carolina above everyone right now in the ACC.